like literally the very first time, you got that little person that's going to, pre-K or K, depending on where you are, pre-K and K might not be mandatory. And so you got some children going to school for the first time in first grade, right? So if you're in one of those scenarios, hopefully you've taken some time over the course of the summer to kind of talk it up, right? And so because what we have to look at for that little person that's going to school for the first time is really like the quality of attachment, right? And so attachment is fundamentally that bond, first and foremost, between the mother and the child, and then, the father and other caregivers. And attachment starts at conception, right? And so attachment is literally predicated on, it absolutely starts, when the child is conceived and how the mom, the safety and security of, of the gestation, of the pregnancy. And so mom gets prenatal care, great. If mom doesn't get prenatal care, less than great. Mom has a stable relationship, great. Mom doesn't have a stable relationship, not so great. Because all those things affect life, the developing fetus, and then baby in the womb, So if there's a lot of chaos, a lot of anxiety, then, there's substance abuse, any of that kind of stuff, it impacts the fetus and developing baby. And it also kind of is a precursor that there's a high likelihood that upon birth, if there wasn't a good pregnancy, then mom could still love her child, but the mom may not be attached, and subsequently the child is not going to be attached, right? And so then we go through those early years, and if we're not intentional about improving attachment and intentional about kind of fostering independence, literally putting that little person down and letting him or her explore the room. Like one of the ways that you get it figured, there's a concept called object constancy, right? And so object constancy is kind of like when you're playing peekaboo behind the door or behind the wall, and you do like the hey, like the child knows they learn that you leave and you come back. And so that has to be established. You got to have attachment and object constancy by the time your child is going to school. Otherwise, kind of what you get is, a child might be excited and you drop them off and you have a meltdown. Now, you can have that meltdown even with a securely attached child, just because school ain't home and you're leaving and you didn't immediately come back. You walked out the door and this time you ain't popped back. And so, but a well-adjusted child might have a little upset, and but soon the environment takes over, assuming that is a safe space. And, and he or she starts to kind of acclimate to the school day, and then they get on. And then, the first day is fine. And so, but what probably should happen for folks, and particularly those who still have a little more time before the first day starts, is, you want to create a routine. And you really want that routine. You need like a 12-hour routine, because you don't want, for this first day of school, if at all possible, you need to, if you're not self-employed, you need to talk to your boss and see if you can come in late, because you literally have to meet your child where he or she is. But you want to have like a 12-hour routine that you are able to run over the course of that year. And what I mean 12 hours is that, like, at 8 o'clock at night or whatever time you decide that your child is going to go to sleep, before your child goes to sleep, y'all need to talk about the first day of school and what school is and how much fun school is and what you're supposed to do at school. Because the child really don't have no concept of what that is. You want to be doing that, right? And really, you can kind of start again. You can start that routine before it's actually the first day of school, and because you can create some run-throughs, right? So, but before your child goes to school, you had that conversation. You want to take care of as many different things as you can take care of, so that you don't have a rushed and hurried morning, because you don't want to create anxiety in the home before you leave. You don't want to create situations where you just inherently get frustrated. Your child feeds off of that frustration and anxiety. So take care of as many things as you can take care of, before you put your child to sleep. So, you and your child may make lunches if taking lunch is a part of that school experience. You want to get the child's school clothes out, lay that stuff out. You want to get all the supplies, lay that stuff out. And you want to involve the child in that, because we're starting school tomorrow, right? And so you kind of want to create some anticipation, and you want to talk about what's going on, so that the child has some reasonable expectations of what the day is going to look like. And you want to talk about, the child's feelings. How are you feeling about going to school? Are you excited? I don't want to go. Well, now we got to have that conversation. Well, why you don't want to go to school? And the good thing about having those conversations is that is the beginning of health and mental health literacy. We got to give our little people the language, right? And so like, I don't want to go to school. Well, why you don't want to go to school? Are you scared? I think so. And then y'all talk about what scared is. Are you excited? Yeah. Okay. So so you want to start to have your child be able to name thoughts and feelings. So that's all a part of this preparation. And again, the further out you start this process, the more you're able to kind of create, solidify your routine and practice and have run-throughs. So it might be that a couple of days, a week or so before school, that you change the sleep schedule, right? And so summertime, your child might have been, up until, he or she wasn't up no more. Well, now we're getting close to school. So now we used to be able to stay up till 10, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to go to sleep at 8. And then at some point in time, you start that, you start that routine that I was speaking of previously. The other thing that you do if you're kind of grooving this thing, excuse me, when you get up in the morning, you actually do the whole thing. You get up, you have him or her get dressed, you all eat breakfast, they grab their little sack, and maybe y'all walk to school, or maybe you drive to school. Little person sees the school, you walk the little person up to the front door. If the school is open and you can go in, walk them into the school. If you already know the classroom assignment, walk him or her to the classroom. If the teacher happens to be there, awesome. You can meet the teacher. And if the teacher's not there, that's fine. You've created the space. Great thing is, if the teacher is there, you immediately start your relationship. And you and the teacher can communicate back and forth between that point and the time that school actually starts. The little person actually has an adult that they can attach with, from that point forward. And so when they actually come to school on the first day, they're comfortable with the routine, and they're comfortable with the building, and they're comfortable with the teacher, so that when you leave, although there still might be some angst, they're a little more comfortable because they've already been in that space, and and they already have a relationship with that teacher, and then hopefully your child is going to school somewhere where you know like he's going he or she's going to neighborhood school where you know even if there's no child that he or she knows in the same class, that he at least starts to see familiar faces, in that walk up to the school and walking down the hall and things like that. Because all of the familiarity, all those things that are familiar are ways to keep the child kind of stable and comfortable.